Monday, Monday. Oh God, back to school. Oh no, no, not the college. No, God, give me more freedom. Back to work and all that fucking terrible crap that everybody has to deal with. I have two pieces of information. Okay, I know I look cheery, but I'm slightly concerned and I may have to leave at any point. And that is because Ben, apparently my wonderful dog, has just been attacked by another dog. I just got a phone call just before the show came on air. He's fine. He's fine. But apparently he's very shaken. I kind of want to check him out when he gets back. Okay? Sue me. I care about my dog. It's pretty important. So he's on his way home. Apparently he's very shaky. Just got attacked, savaged by some miserable dog who is a friend of Emma's, as the person who has the dog, which she never takes it out, walks it, socializes it and stuff. So it saw Ben and it went crazy and apparently grabbed him by the neck and threw him all over the place. But he's fine. Okay? He's fine. He's not injured, but hopefully not socially injured and now fearful of other dogs. We'll have to check that. So I'm going to see him when he gets back. Other news. The store is open. Duh. The store is open. You can get this Preach Gaming hoodie. Oh, awesome. So glad that so many of you are taking that up and getting stuff for us and supporting us. Ah, it's so cool. Some weird combinations of names coming out for what kind of things you want on the back of your shirt. I'm not going to name and shame. Some of them are kind of funky. But we're happy anyway. Our supplier was like, they really want this on the back of their shirt? I'm like, yeah, I think they do. I get the joke. He didn't get the joke. Whatever. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff, which is really cool. And one thing on that though, some of you were charged accidentally for VAT. I just want to put out there that I have refunded you with extra. I have sent you some cash back, so check your PayPals if you're one of the affected. If you didn't get anything back from me, it's because you didn't get charged, okay? Some people did. It's like £1 and stuff like that. It was nothing major. But I've refunded everybody the VAT. I've done the baller thing, give you some money back and some extra for being totally awesome, which is cool. I wanted to get into some gaming news today. We haven't done gaming news for a while, but gaming news has been kind of shitty recently. Nothing major going on. A lot of indie stuff, a lot of crappy little games coming out. Nothing big and exciting to look forward to on the horizon. That's been the case. The only big news I found today that I thought was relevant to what you guys might be into was, in fact, they're making the Wolfenstein movie of the game of Castle Wolfenstein. There's a new Wolfenstein. Well, it's not new. It's about a year or so old, maybe 2 years old. That's not the Wolfenstein I know. The Wolfenstein I know has very classic lines like Guten Tag, and then you'll get unleashed with fucking chain guns and shit, which is totally awesome. All that kind of stuff goes on, and I'm just dreading this movie. I can't help but think about Doom. I can't help but think about Doom with The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Which was just horrific. That could have been such a terrifying movie. It should have been a horror film. It should have been 18s. But I think they're very scared about making 18s plus movies based on games, right? Because gamers are all kids. Am I right, player? Kids will get to see it anyway. I would rather see a fucking terrifying movie of the Doom series. But no, what we got was The Rock with his BFG, Sarge, and people in wheelchairs being monsters and the first person shit and all that kind of stuff. Super fucking lame. But whatever, what can we do? So Wolfenstein the movie is on its way. It's confirmed. Is it going to be good? Well, I'm looking at the chat right now and it's awful, awful, awful. No, that's bad. No, no, that's bad. That's bad. Bad. Bad, bad, bad. Yeah, I kind of see where you're going. Yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. On another note, the scary game I was talking about apparently is really, really good, called Painkiller. I'm thinking of picking it up and maybe streaming it tomorrow evening. Maybe we can have a bit of a fright night together and see if this game is as scary as some people are making it out. It's not a horror game. It's not like Amnesia or anything. It's much more like a Dead Space type of game. So I'm hoping to pick that up. So the second piece of news I wanted to talk about is I'm going to stop saying I'm definitely going to, or I might stream on days like Sunday. Okay, I got a very angry message from Ghost yesterday. He's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm sleeping. I'm dead. I'm exhausted. And he was like, people are waiting for you to stream PvP. I did say on the stream, it was like a 50-50 chance that I would be streaming yesterday. I was so wiped out that when I woke up, I just completely passed out. I was awake for, I'm no exaggeration, I think I was awake for about 3 hours before I completely wiped out on the couch. I was asleep for the next 6 hours. Then I woke up, had something to eat, tried to watch Sherlock Holmes, and then just fell asleep again. I was asleep all day yesterday, and it was fantastic. I feel great today. I feel absolutely marvellous. Some people were pointing out in the comments, it's like, Preach, you look crazy. You look like you're losing your fucking mind. No. You need more Monster. I don't need more Monster. I really don't. And that's not going to do that at all. So I'm not going to do that. What was the main topic for today? It is, of course, Blizzard being Blizzard again. Being like, fuck you to the noobs. And I love this. This is a sort of new thing that's come out. We've followed this progression over the last... how long have we been doing the daily now? Probably about 3 months. Maybe less, 2 months. And we've been following how Blizzard has finally stopped giving a shit about whiny little bastards. And we love this. For me, this is fantastic. Blizzard's just like, I'm sick to fucking death of you whiny assholes asking for everything. And now they're responding in kind with, no, you're bad. And this is essentially the crux of one of their replies today is, no, you're bad. That's your fucking problem right there. And it was in relation to LFR, which was really cool. So it was this was a post that was on MMO Champion. And it's quite a long post, so I kind of want to skip over some things that I found interesting, and I'm not going to talk about the stuff that... Because you guys could read this, but I want to give you my opinion on various things. The good thing about WoW is me and Ghost took almost like a week break away from WoW, playing some Minecraft and stuff. We're both hungry to get back into it, which is just the amazing thing about WoW. You never quit WoW. I wasn't trying to quit WoW, but taking a little break away... I have to troll this guy. Hi, Dan. I'm doing a live show. Say hello to everybody. Right, go away, I'm busy. That is a friend of mine. Again, I tell people I do a show at 5 o'clock. They all fucking ring me. So, LFR. What is LFR? It's bare knuckles. It's under the guise of showing people what raiding looks like. It doesn't really work out that way. Showing people what raiding looks like defeats one of the purposes of raiding, which is to go and see epic, spectacular bosses. LFR, in my view, is overall a good thing, but it needs changing a little bit. I would certainly not include end bosses in LFR. I think that is really stupid that end bosses are in LFR, and LFR should always be one tier behind. Heart of Fear just came out. Now we should have Mogoshon Vault's LFR. Just right now. When Heart of Fear launched, that's when Mogoshon Vault's LFR should have been launched. That's all they needed to do to stagger LFR, in my opinion, to give people that hunger to go and actually see raids. Because a lot of people think, if Blizzard's telling us, we want you to see the content, and then we go and see the content, what's the purpose of going into normal raids other than gear? Extra challenge, extra wiping, especially if you're in a position where you can't jump into a high-level guild and cut a lot of that nonsense out. It's very off-putting to go from LFR to normal raids. I think it actually creates quite a large barrier, but we'll talk about that on a different day. So LFR is this tool that's supposed to show you the raids. Loot is a natural byproduct, but people obviously see it as a way of gearing up. LFR is a way of gearing up. Blizzard never really intended for that to be the case. They wanted you to do it and get some items for it, but very low-level items. They're not great items. Sure, they're epic, but they're low-level items. They're nothing spectacular, nothing amazing. They never really expected people to want to gear up in LFR. That was very contrary to the idea of LFR. It was to show you the raids, nothing more. So LFR has become a sludge, nightmare, troll fest, end of the earth. People who just, in general, really don't realise what scale of playing they're at and are able to get away with it. We have a combination in there of probably good players who feel it's okay to completely AFK. Some people who are moderate to average players, I think, who are basically carrying the LFR. They're the backbone of LFR, is the moderate to average players who want to get better and are using LFR as a tool to practice new things, to try their hardest. They're the backbone. They are truly the backbone. You get some elite players in there who will AFK, or they will simply try and test their DPS in some fashion on a certain boss, which they're contributing to the fight overall. So as pointed out, LFR is just bad players. That's absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. LFR is a combination of everybody. It's a combination of absolutely everybody. It's not just bad players. There are bad players in there. And if they complete LFR, it's very hard for them to know that they're bad players. It's very, very hard. It's very easy to point out, say, bad tanks. That's not particularly difficult. If they get into the Stone Guard and the tanks fuck up, the rage is just unbelievable. They just absolutely unleash on these tanks. Even when tanks say, sorry, it's my first time here, I wasn't quite sure what to do. You ninja pulled the boss. I didn't have time to ask questions. I've seen this happen. The tank was I'm not really sure what to do. No one replied to him. It led to a wipe at the Stone Guard. And then people started bashing him. He said, I told you while you pulled, I don't know what I'm doing here. And you pulled so fast I couldn't ask questions. Sure, you could have said you should have asked questions during the trash, blah, 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 blah. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, gets us anywhere. But LFR is very easy to spot bad tanks. We only look for bad healers when people start wiping due to healing. We don't look at healers overall. And DPS, only when we wipe do we start checking people's DPS, right? That's when the rage starts. Madness of Deathwing was a perfect example. We didn't kill Madness of Deathwing, let's check the DPS meter. Oh look, I'm looking at arbitrary figures that don't show me anything. How many people actually bothered to click things like who DPS blistering tentacles? Not many. I did that and the damage meter told a whole different story. That's the kind of damage meter I would have done, which is pretty cool. So, Blizzard responding kind to various questions. The most obvious one that I thought they cherry-picked out of a lot of comments here was, even if I don't get anything, I want to see what others get. Not just nothing and some gold. I want the slight drama of who gets the high roll, etc. This is a very, very not common idea. It's not common whatsoever. This is something that's been cherry-picked to be particularly sort of like, this is how they started the response to LFR. And it's nice to start on a very low point and build up. And to build up from there. And Blizzard, I think, very wisely chose this as their first starting point of response, was to pick someone who is clearly a major arsehole. Let's really, really epitomise how much of an arsehole some of the people are who are in LFR. And people who post things like, I want the drama, I want to see what everyone else got, so I need to know. There's no possible reason to give a flying fuck what anyone else got in LFR. There's no reason whatsoever. There is no justification for that at all. Therefore, this entire comment was based to start this discussion and work our way up and sort of redeem LFR in some way. Obviously, Blizzard responded in kind as what would be the fucking point, but nobody needed a response to that. Of all the things Blizzard could have responded to, that was the least one. An interesting one, that before we continue with the LFR, as I'm just going through this thread, is that they believed it was regarding the reputation and the dailies and so on and so forth. They're obviously doubling the rate at which we gain reputation, but they didn't feel it would be obvious enough. Therefore, you now have to buy an item which clearly says this enables you to gain double reputation from the rest of the things. What the fuck is the point in that? I don't get that. Is that because they just expect a lot of people don't read forums, don't read other websites? Okay, the people who are really going to grind a lot of reputation will notice pretty quickly that they're getting double reputation. That will pretty much happen. I think they will notice that. Buying an item, I think that means that some people will forget to buy it instead of just passively giving it to everybody. It just seems like an arbitrary thing to throw in there that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I would rather everybody have it and some people not realize it's happening than to buy an item and risk people not getting the benefit after completing Revered on all their factions. That seems miles more logical to me. It's better to have everybody have it and some not realize it than somebody needing to buy it and maybe missing out on it and then continuing to grind rep at a really slow rate. In fact, half the speed of other people who bothered to buy the item. Because posting this information on the forums is just as bad as saying people aren't aware of it that's on the forums. Okay? That makes sense. If you're saying, hey, there's an item coming in patch 5.1, if you buy it, you'll get double rep. Getting double rep is pretty fucking important. I would just give it to everybody, and anybody who doesn't realise it, doesn't realise it. Who gives a shit? Just implement it, for Christ's sake. Get this thing sorted. Otherwise, you're just risking more people who don't buy it than not getting the benefit and being burned out by dailies because they're doing them else. Surely that's a higher risk. I would have thought so. Okay, so back to LFR. The idea was that people feel forced to do looking for raid. Blizzard absolutely made LFR so you do not have to force it. You do not have to force it. Unless you are really in cutting edge guilds, you really don't have to do it. And they make some interesting points here that really hammer down exactly how silly some of these replies are. A lot of people like to believe, no matter which point in the game they are, that they are seriously hardcore. One of the big things, people ask me all the time, am I ready to join a hardcore guild? It's very hard to say yes to those people because I can't really explain what is needed of you in a hardcore guild. I've only done it a couple of times myself, but I was aware of what was needed of me. And a lot of people are not prepared for that. The difference between the top 30 guilds and the top 1 and 2 is immense. It's immense. It's a huge leap. So you can imagine the difference between 100 to 30. This leap just gets larger and larger and larger. There are things you will be required to do in a top guild that you just have no comprehension of in your middle to the road, average, even maybe slightly upper guild. You just won't even contemplate as an option, and you need to play a lot. You need to play through burnout. If you're burning out, that's no fucking problem. You need to play on through that shit, because ultimately you will kill the boss very quickly, your raid will be done with, and therefore you can relax for the rest of the 6 weeks, 6 months, depending on when new content comes. So people complain they are forced to do LFR. The majority of people are in no position to say they are forced to do LFR. Absolutely not. I would argue the only people who should feel forced to do LFR are quite literally the top 200 to 300 guilds. That's it. And those guilds can clear LFR very fucking quickly. Super quickly. So fast that it's not a problem. What we have is a lot of wannabe heroes. A lot of people who are middle of the road type people. And they desperately feel like they are being hardcore by being forced to do LFR and take their complaints to the forums. It's absolutely not true. It really is not true. If you're in a guild that is way, way, way down the rankings, your trouble is not with gear by any means. And Blizzard finally is starting to tell people it's nothing to do with your gear. So I'll give you some examples of this. After 2 weeks of raiding, we haven't killed the stone guards yet. This is not a problem in tanking position, low DPS or bad healing. It's a gear problem only. This is one of the comments from one of the raiders. It's taken us 2 weeks and we still haven't killed the first boss. This is purely down to gear. Who has that mentality? Who has that mentality? The Stone Guard was killed worldwide hundreds upon hundreds of times by people who had access to no LFR, nothing but heroic gear. Unfucking believable. And people genuinely believe the gear argument. They 100% believe it. This isn't a troll post. They genuinely 100% believe that gear is a major, major issue in early raiding. If you have blue heroic gear, you need more epics in order to defeat the first boss than you can get from defeating the first boss. They truly believe it. This is what leads to looking for more Mogashun vaults, item level 500 required. Shit like that. I'm sure you guys have started to see this pop up on your servers already. People asking for item levels higher than what you get from the Mogashun vaults in order to join the pug for Mogashun vaults. Absolute insane requests like that. Absolutely unbelievable. I cannot believe that there's so much evidence to the contrary. People seem to believe that the top guilds or even guilds above them who've killed Stoneguard, which probably runs into the thousands now, have some sort of magical potion of win that they cast upon the boss to defeat it. Unbelievable. But Blizzard, quite frankly, said, fuck you. Wrong. No. Stoneguard is a coordination fight. Nothing to do with gear is essentially what they replied. There is nothing to do with gear whatsoever. Absolutely fucking no. You idiots. There is so much evidence to the contrary. The next move on is that I think LFR, this is the words of people posting on the forums. These are, again, cherry-picked by Blizzard, so we always take these with a pinch of salt. I think the problem with LFR is extremely easy, and normal mode is over-tuned. Normal is a step above where it should be if you want an easy transition. That way, probably, you should be forced to gear up in LFR, and not only for casuals who don't raid normal modes. Wrong again! And this is Blizzard's fault, as not making sure everybody understands what the fuck LFR is. I would rather they removed the gear from LFR to stop people believing that there is a 3-step process to raiding, which is LFR, normal, heroic. No, that is not the fucking case. Do you want an easy transition? No, we don't want an easy transition. You are completely missing what LFR is for. And by putting gear into LFR, this is what's causing it. I would rather LFR just gives Valor points. That would be easy enough. I don't see why this issue needs to exist. And they could say, why are you removing the gear from LFR? Quite simply because LFR is not a place to gear up. It is there to see raids and experience raiding, and that is it. That is all LFR is for. It's a loot pinata. Everybody knows this. Going into LFR is a loot pinata. You have to have bare minimum knowledge of the game in order to achieve full clearances of LFR. And then they don't really understand, if you're in that position and you are at the bare minimum play, you don't understand what the hell normal mode is. And you go into normal mode and you're like, well, it's just so much harder than LFR. Yeah. LFR isn't the stepping stone. It's just to show you, test things, play around, play with 25 people. That's all it's for. It's not for gearing up. It's not for getting ready for normal modes. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the reply was, you're not supposed to trash... Oh, that's what I said. You're not supposed to transition from LFR to normal. You're supposed to start on normal. Okay, so Blizzard is right. They are trying to get back to this, I guess. So if you want to get every possible drop to advance your progression, yeah, sure, you'll want to raid LFR. If you're not doing heroics, but there are more areas than just gear where all raid groups should be looking at when having issues on a certain encounter, most of the time, unless it's a DPS race, it comes down to something else. You're bad. They say bad examples for bad strategy, for example. You're bad. You're doing something wrong. And that doesn't necessarily... You're labeling people you're bad is the incorrect way to say this. It's more about you're doing it wrong. You have more to learn. You have more to learn. And stop thinking about gear. Really, stop thinking about gear as an issue. Then they reply that this, one of the responses, that's it, plain and simple. Blizzard will keep forcing real raiders with the scrubs, a very elitist attitude. I mean casuals, so they don't wipe for 4 hours on the first boss. Nobody's forcing anybody to do a fucking thing. Nobody. Every time you click join LFR as an individual person, that is your fucking choice. Absolutely your choice. Nobody's forcing any good players to play with scrubs or anything like that. Nobody's forcing a damn thing. Nobody, under any circumstances. If you purposely go on your own player and click join LFR, that is your choice. Good player, bad player, medium player, whatever it might be, learning player, doesn't matter. If you click that, it's your choice. Blaming Blizzard because you're a brilliant, amazing, super fucking gift to World of Warcraft, that you are playing with people who are less gifts to World of Warcraft than you, means you're a fucking knob. Absolutely, you are a knob. And you probably are really, really, at best, average at the game. Seriously. If you believe that, you are a fucking terrible, terrible person. But you still ran it for a chance to upgrade some slots and Valor, correct? I won 2 LFR items last week and I replaced them in a matter of days. But I still ran it 3 times. The thing is, it's a lot of us don't want to run it at all. How many things are fucking wrong with this sentence? I got 2 LFR items and replaced them within a couple of days. Why the fuck are you in LFR? If you are easily replacing loot so quickly. I ran it 3 times. But I still ran it 3 times. What? And then you blame Blizzard because you don't want to run it? You ran LFR 3 times in a week and then blame Blizzard because you had to run it at all? Baffling. Absolutely baffling. But again, Blizzard like a fucking rock star. Then don't do it. So better. So much better. This response first line is like, then don't. You fucking moron. I would love to be the fly on the wall about how they word these posts. Like, you're a fucking asshole. Stop doing it. It's obvious that you're well beyond the skill level of any player posting in the LFR thread, and that you'd rather not play with mouth breathers, as he called them in an earlier post. This elitist attitude. Can you believe this is how people believe? I have to run LFR. Me, the Lord of Sinister Strike, or Fireball, or whatever spell it must be. I have to join myself with the dogs on the floor to obtain my precious items I will replace in the next couple of days. This is obscene with these mouth-breathing fools, these anti-playing fools. They disgust me. Unbelievable. Now you can see why I moved away from elitism. I used to be like this. Can you believe this shit? Totally. Totally used to believe this. Blizzard is hiding from the fact that there are blockages in normal raiding content. Every boss is tuned for maximum buffs, and if you are missing one, you will require extra item level to make up for it. We need more gear. Guys, we need more gear. We don't... This is ridiculous. We don't have 5% spell haste. We need more gear. And why are you bringing 5 fucking rogues? You know? Why are you doing that? So many people could bring this buff. The success rate for Elgon is under 5%. Elgon is under 5% for 10 mans, while being well over 10 to 15% for all of the bosses. Even the last one. This should be very obvious that it's overtuned. The guy brings statistics into an argument and uses them in the most irrational way possible. You do not say that 5% is worse than 10%, right? 10% is not great, right? It's not like 10% is amazing, well done. 5%, oh, are you kidding me? 5%? That's really bad. Oh, they got 10%? Oh, that boss is fine. That boss is, that's fucking awesome. 10%? Oh, but with this one's 5%? Half as many people? Your statistics can be skewed in such obscene ways, it makes my fucking eyes bleed when I read this stuff. Oh, every other boss is 10%. That shit is easy mode. Elgon, 5%? That shit is overpowered as fuck. I want to put a big question because I see that we have joined by Tommy Moore in the chat today of exactly how it felt when Elgon died to that guild, to Stark Industries. Was it worth it, or was it just another, oh, well, we're just one of the 10% now. Now you fucking killed something worth killing that was about strategy. Awesome. So good. People look for any excuse. And now they're saying, well, we don't have a buff that carries the rest of the raid, that carries everything else. And now that buff is causing us to farm LFR to fix it up. Lackluster, fail, lol, score, slacking off. Oh, Kings is about respect. A little heart back to Friday's buff. We haven't got Kings because we've got no respect amongst the raid group. Oh. The thing you ask and pressure, it is not mandatory in order to beat the encounters, no. But as I stated above, why on earth would you make it just as complicated to you by not running these things and making it harder for the 24 or 9 other people who you run the raids with? That's just selfish and piss poor excuse for one who wants to complete all heroic encounters. Or even people who just want to clear normal and a more casual environment. Again, this is a hero. This is a hero player who is so damn good that he can't believe he has to play with the peons, with the scrubs, with the low levels, with the mouth breathers, as he calls them. And the pressure he's under to make sure he's maximum performing. This is where the whole thing completely falls down. You are either in a middle-of-the-road guild where the LFR stuff really won't matter. And if you are in a guild that is raiding, you're likely to be doing LFR as a guild. Quite frankly, you're likely to be queuing up with quite a few. If you're a 10-man guild, it's not difficult to get in there with 10 people. It isn't hard to do that. If you think your guild requires the gear, then that is what's going to happen. It's just not difficult. And then you can clear it very quickly. Or you are nowhere near that level whatsoever. You are miles behind that level. And you feel that you have to solo run LFR to buff the other 9 people to make sure you are doing something very helpful to the rest of the raid. If you're doing that, you should be doing it as a guild. If not, you don't need the gear. It's very easy. If you need LFR gear in your guild, you will do it as a guild. If you don't, you won't. That is the simple fucking answer to anybody who asks you about LFR gear. If you're in a new guild, this is how I wanted to summarize it. So if you're in a guild and they are moaning at you about LFR gear, simply say, okay, when does the guild do LFR? And if they say you do it on your own, then your answer is simple. It can't be that important then. Can it? It can't be. It can't possibly be that important. If you're telling me that 25 or 10 people who are in a raiding guild need the gear from LFR, you would do it as a guild. One, to increase the chance of getting some gear amongst all of you, rather than one person, and trading loot, and swapping things, or doing whatever you want to do. Or it is not that important. It's as simple as that. Anybody guild leader who says, have you done your LFR? Why have you not got any LFR items? Or apparently you're not doing LFR. I said, well, when does the guild do it? Oh, we don't do it as a guild. Then I'm not doing LFR on my own. I don't like LFR. That's your choice. And if the guild wants you to do it, you will do it as a guild. Piece of piss. And the 10 of you will carry that fucking raid to swift success. Very, very easy. LFR is such a fucking miserable joke. It's unbelievable. And people totally get the wrong idea of what it's for. And it bothers me. It bothers me. In fact, it's not LFR. I take that back. LFR is fine. What bothers me is the continued excuse since vanilla that gear is such a major, major factor in your raid progression. It's very simple to analyze. How many people have killed X boss before you in lesser gear. There's probably a lot of them. There's probably a great deal of them. Okay, look at all the top end guilds who ran 5 groups in the first raiding week. 5 groups! Do you think all of them had some exceptional fucking gear? Absolutely not. 5 groups? Some of those were 25-man groups. So that was a combination of 125 characters. Think they all had really outstanding epic gear? No, absolutely not. Very difficult to put blame on yourself. Very easy to blame something as arbitrary as gear. Especially people who stop progressing in order to gear up. You really don't need to do that. You should be trying the next boss. You'll be surprised at what you achieve. And you'll feel better for it. You'll seriously feel better for it. Coming back to when I asked what the start felt like after they killed Elagon, very unimpressive. And why? The reasons I'm sort of getting out of the chat is that they were doing something wrong. And once they sussed it out, it went down very easily. Strategy. But I'm sure most people wiping on Elagon are blaming it entirely on gear. This needs too much DPS. Needs too much of this, too much of that. We just need more healing, blah, 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 blah. Really not the case. Getting your strategy right makes your life so much easier. Guess what? If you do everything really well, it takes less mana to heal it. It takes less DPS to kill it. And so on and so forth. It's much, much easier if you get everything right. That is the wonderful thing that people discover by progress rating and not living their lives in LFR and sort of blaming Blizzard for having LFR existing. You really have no reason to do LFR. And if you do have a reason, you will do it as a guild. Simple as that. You will do it as a guild. Very easy. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on LFR. Not just whining LFR shit. I don't want to hear that in the YouTube video tomorrow. I'd love to hear your comments. Leave me something. If I have any questions, I can hear that Ben is back. I would love to check on him. So if you have any questions, post them now. I will do my best to answer them. So do it now, please. While Ben is here. Oh, he's not coming upstairs. Scary, scary. Don't stand in pillage. Any questions? Quickly. World Logs Part 2 video is coming this week. I'm ugly and I smell like expired pineapples. That's fabulous. Yeah, I'm going to go see bed. Alright, take it easy, ballers. I will see you tomorrow, where we'll have a longer discussion. Alright, ballers. Bye-bye.